into it. Okay? So, if we agree that training and practice are obviously hooked together in different ways, okay? Then we have to start talking about the roles. The trainer and the trainee. It's agreed upon by whomever, okay? So, I'm the trainer and I'm about to give you a lesson. So one of the first things I have to do is I have to make sure you understand, number one, you're safe. Number two, there's no tricks. You know, this is straight up training, okay? And I will explain what we're going to do. So I'm going to explain it. The trainee is going to listen. This is simple enough. Not everyone speaks and hears the same way. So, once you've explained it and the trainee listens, the trainee questions, the trainer listens. Because now we're trying to find out, did you really understand what I said? You know? Did I order a ham sandwich or a turkey on rice? And you'll be surprised at how many times when you go to do this with somebody, they're going to say something back to you that you know for a fact you didn't say. But it is what they heard. So, after I listen, I answer, trainee listens, and then, ultimately, the trainee has to perform, and the trainer critiques. And you can go through that however long it takes to get whatever it is you're doing accomplished. Because you're going to run into some beginners that couldn't throw a flat snap with a 2x4 in front of their arm. Okay, where the sword would just go right across the 2x4 into somebody's helmet. They're not going to get it. So it's up to you as a trainer to figure out, how do I get through to this person? Right? 3 different types of learning. You understand it as soon as I said it. Okay, this is easy. I get this idea. The other one is, I show it to you, and boom, done. Third one is, you have to do it, otherwise you don't get it. As a trainer, you have to realize and be into it enough to work with the trainee to get the lesson across. What you are doing is you are the bearer of information. Your job is to deliver the message and make sure it was understood by the recipient. This is fairly straightforward. Except now we're talking about them using their mental and physical to do something you already know how to do. Right? So, one of the main things a trainer has to watch out for on their own part is frustration. It can be frustrating, right? After a while, you just relax into it and you realize, hey, this is going to take some while with this one. No two of the people I've ever trained are exactly alike. Some brought natural ability to it, some brought speed to it, some brought, they'd been in martial arts before, so they understood the combativeness of it. But no two have been alike. So, some of the rules for training. Safe. You can reinforce this by starting out with absolutely not a stitch of armor on. Because then it's obvious to the trainee that there's no way you can hit them. It's not combat. Now the deal here is that once you go from not wearing anything to wearing a helmet, it will change. Because the mental side has now put on its mask. Right? All the information coming in through the eyes is almost identical to combat because it's coming through that ocularium. You know, whether it's a 3/4 inch ocularium or a full open face grill, the perception is combat. I put this helmet on, I put the helmet on for one thing basically. Okay. So, as the trainer, you verify, I call it verifying with the trainee, where are you? Did any concern just enter your head that you put your helmet on? And some of them will say, yeah, I sort of feel like we're fighting now. Okay, so you have to allay their fears and make it safe. One of the things you demand from the trainee is attention. They have to be willing to do this. If they're willing in the first 10 minutes and all of a sudden you realize that they're no longer there, it's time to ask them, you really want to do this? And you sometimes have to lay it down. If you were going to do this, you have to go through this whole set with me. It's not that I'm going to get you out there and show you how to throw this with a stick and we're all done. You want to do that, we can do that at practice. That's different. I'm just going to show you how to do it and you're all, off you go. So, we went over the D's before when I was here. What do you need to be successful? One of the D's. Defense. No. Dedication. Determination. Okay. Determination. What was the other one you guys mentioned? Desire.
Drive.
Drive. If you are not driven to accomplish this, especially if you're aiming for that one, okay, it's not going to happen. Education, motivation, dedication. I can educate you. I can partially motivate you. The last one, I have no control over. Right? And dedication and drive go together. If you're driven to it and you can dedicate yourself to the practice and you can dedicate yourself to the training, okay. But if you're telling yourself you're driven, but I'm not really feeling like going to practice this week. I didn't go last week either. Oh, well, maybe I'll go next week. Well, all of a sudden, you're not as driven as you thought you were. And that's something we run into. Little Bobby's sick. We have to go do this on that night. This happened at work and I'm working overtime. But even though all that's going on, if you're still dedicated to it because when you got home and it's 10 o'clock at night and you went out in the backyard and you spent a half an hour on that pell, right, then you're still dedicated and you're still driven. You just don't have the time to dedicate to a real 2-hour, 3-hour practice twice a week. You just don't have it. Okay? So while it may take that person longer because little Bobby's sick or they had to work, they're still driven and they're still dedicated to doing something each day, they'll progress. It's just like anything else you do. It's just like with your job or any other sport you're involved in. Okay? No matter what it is, whether it's archery or anything like that, or pistol shooting, rifle shooting at long range, anything like that, you still have all of this stuff going on. Right? Because in those cases, you don't have an opponent per se, but you've got a target at 500 yards. That's your opponent. And your skill in your form of firing that weapon is what's going to make the difference. Okay? So, we've made it safe. We've got the trainees' attention. We've explained that to be successful, these are some of the things you need, and it's up to you as to how much you are going to give to that. I can't tell you how much you can give to that. I can educate you, I can partially motivate you, but if you're going to be dedicated, it's all on you. Okay. Now then, I'm going to revisit some of the stuff we went over in the first class because as trainers and trainees, which you're all going to be today, you need to understand some things. 5-on-5. We went over this the last time. Offense, defense. Number 1 on each side is range. You're not going to attempt an offense or a defensive movement without being in the appropriate range or having been